Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, Elizabeth Mary Tarot, and just wanted to thank the new subscribers and welcome them to my channel, and thank you for all the likes and shares. I really do appreciate it. I am excited that you know you're tuning in, and I hope that what I provide for you for some information with the tarot is helpful and you know, brings you some peace and some perhaps clarity, and just excuse me, allows you, you know, something positive from it. So I wanted to do a quick reading this evening, just kind of like a general reading. Last night I did one on twin flames, and seems to be getting a lot of attention and some views, so I'm really happy about that. I think there's, you know, there's a strong energy going on right now with the twin flame journey as we you know, are entering into 2019. And I think there'll be a lot of, you know, divine feminine, divine males going into union, or just kind of getting into that next phase of the journey of the union. So I'm going to use the Earth Magic cards. I just got these, so I'm going to have to use the book. I haven't spent enough time with them, but they're really cool cards. Oracle cards by Stephen Farmer, so I will probably have to use the book for some of the interpretation, just because they are a little different than your traditional tarot. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of, you know, show you guys these cards because they're really cool photos, and I mean cool images on it, sorry, and you know, just have cool messages. So just use my quartz to activate the cards, as I do for all of them, and just give them a shuffle, and we'll start and just kind of see. Oh, jeez, that one flew right out. Cave, sanctuary. So as you can see from the card, I know my light, I gotta get better light over here, but cave, sanctuary, he's kind of like in isolation, you know, hibernating, hiding, and this card tends to come up often, and I think right now it's got some you know, specific meaning to it. You know, there are a lot of people in introspection, like you know, analyzing and you know, reflecting. It's kind of what's going on with the solstice, and just trying to figure out their next steps as the new year comes, holiday season. You know, it's common for people to kind of isolate a little, you know, from when they can, right? If you have a break from the family and all the holiday stuff. But you know, their sanctuary is required. You know, you need some of that alone time to reflect and think and plan ahead. So the next card is Island, Solitude. So there's a going theme here of just being alone. Stay away, everybody. No, I'd love to be on an island in solitude, but it's a beautiful island. It's hard to show the picture. You can kind of see there's like this purple tree at the top there of the mountain, or the island, I should say. And so, yeah, and then I'll go through and kind of read a little bit from the book, but I'll just give my own version of what I think for the card. So again, you know, kind of piggybacking off the cave, sanctuary, there's something, you know, valid to solitude and being, you know, in your own thoughts, and deciding on your next steps in life. So if you have a chance to be in solitude, do so. If you have a chance to be on an island in solitude, definitely do that. Or a cave, I guess. The next card we have is Tsunami, Wake Up Call. And so this one, I'm thinking, you know, after all the reflection and all of the solitude and all of the time spent trying to, you know, get some clarity on life, there's a bit of a wake-up call. And I know that that's kind of going on in the twin flame journey, and this is a general reading. So wherever you are in your path in life, if there's a wake-up call, you know, I don't want to be at this job anymore, you know, it sucks the life out of me, or I don't want to, you know, be in this constant struggle, and I'm, you know, people are waking up to just like, there's got to be a better way, right? Like, we're also like conditioned to have this you know, this kind of processed life, you know, here in the US, And I know there's other countries that have as well, but you know, it's a rat race. It's so maybe the wake up call is, you know, it's time to follow your passions and do, you know, stuff that's more of an interest to you, something that you did maybe as a child or in younger years, or something that you do now as a hobby or for fun, but you'd love to try to make money at it instead. I think, you know, that's the wake up call. Or whether it's the relationship sucks and you need to get out of it, or, you know, you got to take better care of your health or whatever it is. You know, the wake-up call is here. Next card is Ocean, Ebb and Flow. And I think, you know, with the wake-up call, ebb and flow kind of has that same, you know, there's ups and downs in life. And, you know, yes, there's the wake-up call, but just take everything in stride. It's going to have their days that it's not you know, positive, and there's days that it will be. So you just, you know, ebb and flow is, I find, to just, you know, trust in the universe, trust in the guidance, trust that the universe has your back, that you're being guided, you're being supported, and just, you know, listen to the messages that are coming. Ancestors, generations. You know, this card is a lot to do with breaking through karmic cycles, and I think I look at it that way. You know, just, again, if you're in solitude, you reflect on things. You have this wake-up call of like, oh my gosh, I'm literally living the same life my mother did that I swore I never was going to do. Or you know, I thought I had worked on self-love and self-worth, but that relationship taught me that, no, I suck at it and I need to get better at loving myself. And that's why that relationship was bad, because that person couldn't love me. I couldn't love myself. So things like that, I look at the ancestor generation. So, you know, be the one to break that cycle. Be the one to stop it, so that, you know, whoever comes after you is not going to follow that same pattern, whether it's a self-worth or a money block or I don't know, there's so many different ones. Next card, love and compassion. So 2 hands coming in, touching the heart. You know, I look at that like the heart chakra, compassion. So having compassion for yourself as you do this inner work and you're reflecting and you're having these wake-up calls and you're trying to go with the flow of life and, you know, oh my God, all that stuff. Just have some compassion for yourself and for others. You know, obviously anger can come up too, especially if you're trying to break family patterns and you're upset that, you know, your family, whatever reasons, you know, things come up, especially around the holidays, like old triggers happen. So just have compassion, because the way I look at it, it's like, you know, whether it's parents or grandparents, everybody did the best they could. They all had, you know, their own stuff that they were trying to work out from the generation before them, and, you know, everyone brought their own stuff to their current life, and you know, so having compassion for that. It's hard, I know, but I think it's necessary. Let's see what else we got. Mountain, strength. So having the strength and the compassion is really important here. So, you know, just knowing that you can overcome whatever obstacles and challenges come your way. So I'm just going to pull 2 more and then an overall, and then I'll just quickly go through the book, give kind of like an update on each of the cards. Next card is childhood innocence. And I think that's, you know, I love this card. It's one of my favorite ones, because the little boy and the little girl are just kind of playing out there in the beautiful forest park with the water by there, and the sunlight is coming in. And it's reflective of, you know, returning to that childlike innocence. You know that song by Enya, Enya, I think it's Enigma. Childhood, Return to Innocence. Beautiful song, and it's such a powerful song, and, you know, you might even hear it now that I've mentioned it, or you can go and log in, you know, and listen to it on YouTube. Childhood innocence, returning to that innocent, carefree, you know, before we were bogged down with all of life stuff over the years. Return to that, and, you know, or try to, and just think of when, you know, a time in your life as a child when you were carefree and had fun, and you didn't really worry about what was coming next or what tomorrow was going to bring, or I don't know, it's hard to put it into words, but just trying to find that place. Everybody had one, you know, everybody's had that moment, sorry. in childhood where, you know, you did feel a little carefree, whether it was you playing with your favorite toy, or you were immersed in your favorite creative project, or you were with a family member that you had a lot of fun with, or you were doing something really fun on a trip, whatever it is. Just try to go back to that experience that day, and remember as much as you can about that day, and reflect on that, and feel it from your heart. I think it'll be really helpful. And then meadow, vulnerability. So, you know, vulnerability is the same thing, you know, you know, returning to that free, able to speak your mind, not, not worrying about speaking your truth, and just being vulnerable and telling people how you feel. And obviously, you know, with compassion and not coming from an angry place, but just, you know, being able to speak honestly and be vulnerable, whether it's with people or yourself. And the overall card is Gaia, nurturing. So that, I think, again, goes with vulnerability and being innocent and strength and compassion and all that, and just having, you know, a good overall feeling of self-love. So let me just look real quick at cave. Sorry, this is I'm gonna read the the main part. There is a quiet, still place inside of you that will always be available as a sanctuary. Yet finding such a space in the natural world, this is the card, will enhance and complement this internal place of peace. Whether it is a cave, meadow, forest, seashore, or any other setting in nature, this is where you can see, hear, feel the presence of the Creator in your surroundings. Let it become a temple for your heart and soul. Rather than having your computer, television, or any other human-made device or activity be your sanctuary, allow yourself to discover that perfect place in nature where you can simply be and breathe. Doing so bridges the connection between the internal and external, facilitating a spiritual communion that allows your being to be aligned in dramatic and quiet space with all that is. In today's busy world, it becomes even more critical to set aside time for sanctuary, even if you have to schedule it, which is kind of what I was talking about, like finding that quiet time. And even if it means going to an island for solitude, that was the next card. And this one talks about kind of the same thing. You need to take some time for solitude, preferably in silence. Spend the morning, afternoon, or even the entire day by yourself, completely unplanned and unstructured. The bombardment of your senses by the noise and intensity of society leaves you on alert far more than is necessary. The vibration of millions of people's worries and fears throughout the world can impinge upon you and greatly affect you if you do not honor your need to pull back from time to time. When you have passed through any self-constructed barriers to enjoying the quiet peace of solitude, it will serve you best if you simply observe the thoughts and emotions that pass through you, especially those that cause shortness of breath or a quickening heartbeat. Remember that isolation is experienced not by choice but out of fear. When you decide to spend time with yourself in solitude, however, you are choosing to once again find and connect with who you really are, which I think is what even that message later in the reading about innocence and returning to that childlike innocence. So that's really important, spending that time alone to, find out who you are again. All right, quickly, we are going on to the tsunami wake-up call. You are getting a wake-up call. It may be in the form of a significant loss or the dramatic event in your life, typically one that is not prepared for initially. Oh boy. You may feel stunned at first, surprised by the unexpected events that are occurring. Yet you also know that it is time to draw back the curtain of avoidance and denial and confront the truth that exists in the subtext of this event. You experience a real-life trauma, so there is no need to amplify it more than it already is. Often when you look back after something like this has passed, you can recall signs that foreshadowed it happening. There may have been obvious clues that you ignored, or omens that you were so subtle that were easy to dismiss as imagining of the mind rather than the voice of your instinct. There are many anecdotes about animals operating purely on instinct. So to negotiate this wake-up call, listen closely to your instincts while at the same time seeking the higher ground of spiritual truth. So it could be something simple too. It doesn't have to be like doom or gloom, it could be anything that's coming your way that you might need to work through. Whether I said, like, you want to get out of that job, or you're, moving on from a relationship, whatever that could be. Ocean, ebb and flow is the next one. An important aspect in the art of living is to move with ebb and flow of your emotions, joining their fluidity but not being captured by it. It is also not necessary to become obsessed with any particular fluctuation in mood or feeling. You have been fighting the ebb and flow of your own feelings, denying your hurt, anger, or sorrow by either attaching yourself to one or the other and nurturing it as if it were a nursing child, or else smoothing over your feelings with more practiced responses that deny and hide what is going on beneath the surface of your expression. When you attempt to constrict yourself from experiencing your emotions, it is much like trying to stem the tides that grow even more forceful with every attempt humans make to control them. Allow yourself to swim with these variations rather than resisting them. They are simply emotions, often activated in ways that are completely beyond your understanding. When you neither minimize nor exaggerate the intensity and importance of your emotions, you then have a greater sense of when and how to express them. All right, ancestors. And maybe I can read. I know I'm taking a long time, and I'm sure you guys don't want to hear it all, but I think these have some cool messages. So, ancestors is a long one, so I'll just kind of give an overview here. You have within you the blood of your ancestors. You are deeply connected to your lineage, the most immediate proof of that being the physical resemblance you have to your mother and your father, and perhaps even your grandparents. Yet beyond that, although unknown to your unusual senses, you are connected to an ancestry that reaches back through the millennia. This is the time to call upon those ancestors, those who are your bloodline, as well as those ancient ones who have walked the land that you now walk. So that's talking about connecting to them. So that's a little different than what I was getting in the message. But, whether you're connecting with them, and, there's good to the ancestors, right? There's good to your lineage, and connecting to that is what it's kind of giving the message on. Compassion for love is the next one. And this says, all wounds stem from the illusion of separation from source and all of creation. The route to healing this wound is through cultivating love and compassion for every being on this planet, including yourself. So respect the fact that your heart is a giver and a receiver. These energies are best sensed by attending to the steady flow of your breathing while also noticing your heart area. So forgiveness is not only letting go of judgment, but also seeing that through the illusion that you and all that is are separate. Look about you and inside of you and do your best to love whatever you see. So the next one is mountain. So that's saying love, compassion. Love whatever you love, and have compassion for others. Mountain, strength. It makes no sense to deny the strength that you have at the cost of allowing yourself to be reactive and subject to external influences for beyond what is healthy for you. Imagine yourself as a mountain of strength, solidly, grounded in the earth, your head held high as if you were touching the sky. Do so without straining, just as the mountain itself does not strain. The current situation calls for you to be vigilant, but not to the point of fear or paranoia. Be the rock of strength that you are capable of becoming. Wow. Standing steady like a rock is what is called for at this time. So that's good. Strength. And then we got childhood, innocence. So we go from strength to childhood innocence. And this one says, innocence is not simply the lack of guilt or shame, but a quality in itself, one that can naturally possess when you first come into this existence. There are challenges you have faced throughout life that have further shaped your personality and character. You have also likely encountered moments following a disappointment or loss when you turn sour or cynical, and no doubt have had times when layers of anger or fear block the flow of vitality, your life force. Yet, in spite of all this, there's a core of innocence that you can reawaken by releasing any shame that has covered over the truth of who you are. Take any opportunity to heal this shame and let it go so you can revisit that state of purity. Doing so helps you see every moment with fresh eyes and removes the filters that inhibit your light and love from coming forth. You truly are a child of God, so allow yourself to be that. And the next card would be meadow and vulnerability. So being a child of God, and allow yourself to, have that vulnerability. You are in a place now where you can take risks with your feelings. Even more important, take risks with the truth of who you are, the truth you know in your heart and soul. You no longer need to be subjected to your conditioned fears of letting others know who you really are. Yes, others may judge, evaluate, criticize, and perhaps even put you down. These are very real possibilities. Yet by trusting that you have the strength to deal with these reactions rather than responding and always playing it safe, you can more confidently allow yourself to be vulnerable. Always holding back from expressing your truth can create an illusion of safety. But armed with your trust and your faith, you can choose to be vulnerable and share your authentic self with the world, which is what I was talking about by like being your own, be speaking your truth is vulnerability. And then lastly, we have Gaia, which is nurturing. Nurturing says, receiving can be a sacred act if your intention is to honor spirit. It is as holy as giving when performed with a humble and open heart. This is even truer when receiving much needed nurturing. So let others give it to you. It may be a stretch to do so at times because of childhood conditioning, but that's the habit that can be overcome. Your wounds can be healed. One way to achieve this is to nurture yourself and allow others to nurture you. Consider the actions you take that are self-nurturing. What comes to mind when you really think about doing beneficial things to yourself? Set aside your ritualized habits and beliefs that restrict the pure act of allowing your body, heart, and soul to be nurtured. Lie on the earth and ask Gaia to rock you in her bosom as you breathe with her and relax into her loving care. So I think that's a really powerful message, because in the midst of your time alone and having this realization of, oh my gosh, I need to make changes in my life. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm not using the negative thing. So let's cancel, clear, delete that. Let's say I want to be in this situation now. I want this, and I'm moving my life to this. So that's the wake up call, is this has to change, and I'm changing it. And then going, with the ebb and flow, tapping into some, lineage and ancestors and getting, insight and guides, and maybe there's somebody that's passed on that you truly believe. You can feel their spirit, and you can feel that they're always watching over you, and maybe there's signs that you can catch throughout the day. I know I always get license plates, like I'm a license plate signaholic. People laugh at me all the time because I constantly have like conversations via license plates of like, it could be anything that I got going on, and I can ask for signs, and like within sometimes like literally seconds, sometimes minutes, but there's been seconds, like I'll say, okay, I need a sign about this, and then I'll see the license plate that has the word that I need, which is so crazy, right? So I'll give you an example. I also do some music lyric writing, but it was something that just kind of came to me just through some synchronicity and signs and intuition, and also some readings that I had done on, from others that others did for me. So I was driving, and I said, okay, if I'm really gonna do some music lyric writing, and it was I have stuff, and I'm coming up with ideas on stuff, and give me a sign. And I swear to God that I was driving on the highway, and the car drives by like a few minutes later, and the license plate was music, and I went, oh my God. Like, actually, I almost like had to pull over because it was just so much. It was like, wow. And then from there, I saw another one that was like lovely, and then lots of like numerology, like 111 and 777. So believe in the license plates; they're real. One day I'll write a book about it. Mountain strength. Oh no, we went on that. I'm sorry. I gave you all of them. I guess I wanted to re-show that. Have some strength. I don't know. I got caught off when I was telling that story. So yeah, nurture yourself. Speak your truth. Be vulnerable. Have strength. I know that's a lot to do. Have compassion for yourself and for others in your life right now. Everybody is fighting their own battles and trying to get to a better place in their life. And if they're not, then they're not awakened, and they don't want to, and they're happy where they are. Don't try to change anyone. Just do your thing. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for your time and listening, and enjoy your Thursday. Namaste.